Hi everybody, I'm John Seelye, Managing Broker, JK Realty here in Gilbert. I'm here to give you a little bit of broker time. Normally we talk about pieces of the contract, specific sections, or we'll talk a little bit about a specific form that helps us get through our contract. This week though, I'd like to talk to you about something a little different. I'm going to talk to you about appraisals a little bit. I've been getting a lot of questions about it. Some agents are feeling like appraisals are starting to come in a little bit lower than they had expected. We've been in a long seller's market, and it's been really easy to push the market for a long time. So I understand if people are starting to feel like there might be a little downward pressure on the appraised values, but there's some things we can do to make sure we're getting what we need for our clients. The first thing I do, either buyer's agent or seller's agent, doesn't matter to me, I make sure that when the appraiser gets there, on the counter is a note from me explaining how I got to my value. I'm the seller's agent. I'm like, hey, this is how we got to the price point we should be at. We don't feel like we're pushing the market more than we should be. And here are the X, Y, and Z things that make this home worth more than the comps. And by the way, here are the comps that I used. If I'm the buyer's agent, it's the same sort of thing. Hey, this is John with JK Realty. This is how my client and I got to the value so we can make the offer that we made. We feel the home is worth this. We've looked at the comps, we've looked at the upgrades, and we've compared it to everything in the neighborhood and even some of the surrounding areas, and that's how we got there. I do make sure that I put in there all the comps I've used, and I put in there the valuation changes I've done to those comps. It does help the appraisers. I've talked to appraisers. Some of them appreciate it. Some of them don't even look at them. I'm willing to take the time to do it on the off chance that they're going to have a look and they're going to at least understand what I was thinking when I came to that value for either our offer or a price. It does work. Get those out there, write a nice note. We are not trying to influence them. We're not trying to get them to make the evaluation what we think it is. What we're trying to do is explain to them how we got to the valuation we came up with. Okay? Just keep that in mind. If you don't work at JK, talk to your broker. Make sure they're okay with you leaving a packet there for the appraiser. We get the appraisal, and it comes in, and everything's fine. Nobody worries much about that. If it comes in and it's a little bit low, now we have some discussions to have. First thing you're going to do as the buyer's agent is talk to the seller's agent and say, hey, it came in low. Is the seller willing to move down to where this is going to work for everyone? And often it will. They'll know that they're pushing the market by more than they should have been, and they know that moving by $5,000 or $6,000 is just going to make their lives easier, and it's going to make the thing close. But a lot of the time, you're going to find a seller who digs in their heels, and they're like, no, it's worth that $27,000 more than the appraiser says it's worth. And you're going to run into that. And when it happens, you're just going to have to figure out a way to either get the parties to come together, just negotiate it with the other side, get it figured out, get the buyer to give a little, get the seller to give a little, and come to a meeting of the minds. If you can't do that and it's close, and you still, as the buyer's agent, believe that there's value there, and the buyer believes that it's worth more than the appraiser came in at, then call the lender. And let the lender know, look, we use these comps, the appraiser used these other comps. We feel like it didn't really come out in an equitable way for us. We believe that there's been a mistake made. Could you look at these comps and see if we can contest this appraisal? And often the lender will say, absolutely, it does look off. Sometimes it'll be something as simple as they found a model match that was further back in time than you used, but you've got a model match that's closer in distance than they used, or they went way outside the subdivision to find something. And there are a lot of different ways to do it, and we don't want to challenge the appraiser's ability to appraise a property. What we want to say is, this is how we got there. Would you have a look and see if that's going to help our value? And that's a really good way to look at it. Send it to the lender. The lender will either contest it or not. There's not much we can do after that. We can just put it in their hands and hope that it works out for us. The next thing is, if it's an FHA, a lot of people believe that you can't contest those, and you can. And I've successfully had a few of them contested by lenders where I've said, I've got a model match right across the street that just sold and it appraised for $10,000 higher than what they're telling us ours is worth right now. And that's worked out for me pretty well a couple of times, and a few times I've had the lender just laugh at me when I call them. So you've got to try, you've got to give it a shot, but do make sure you have your ducks in a row and you do have different comps than they came in with, and that you can make some sense out of the thing. Generally, if the VA comes in low, it triggers a thing called the Tidewater Initiative, and it gives you 48 hours to look at comps that the appraiser did not use. They don't want to see the same comps the appraiser used with you given different values. They want to see comps that they didn't use that you think are as good or better comps that support your pricing. They want you to get them 3 of those with a brief summary on why each one of those is better than the ones that were used. The other option is to show evidence of errors on the part of the appraiser. Let's say they measured the square footage wrong, and I know that happens, and VA knows that happens. That's why they've got this built-in process. It's unusual, but it happens. I mean, things, numbers get transposed, stuff happens. Square footage is off, the size of the lot is off, something like a major update is missing. Your client redid the kitchen 2 years ago, and they gave you 0 for it in a neighborhood where most of the homes don't have the kitchens redone. That's probably an error on the part of the appraiser. They probably, checked the wrong box. There's a lot of things that they have to do, and a lot of things they have to get right. And when they get one wrong, we kind of freak out and ask them to fix it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to ask them to fix the error if that's the case. One problem here is you have 48 hours to get this to the lender and get this done. So you can't be goofing off with it. You've got to get it done quickly. As soon as you hear that one comes in low, just get on it. Okay? If you have any questions about appraisal process, please feel free to contact me. You can reach me via text, phone, email, whatever you want to, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you. Thank you. Have a great day.